thing. I'm still trying to, I want a scientist to bring me into a laboratory, and I put on this big hazmat suit, right? And I'm looking through this glass, and he's concocting, and he has all his electrical, his little wires and everything's going up. And I want to see him be able to take, a fly or anything and turn it into a human. They say, no, we can't do that. It takes a million years in order for that to happen. So we can't do that. So where's the proof? You have to go based on what we tell you.
But at the same time, to bolster your argument is that, in the lab, conceivably, and I'm sure they're doing it, is that through genetics, you could create some sort of hybrid animal in the lab that wouldn't take millions of years to create.
See, now, and that goes back to adaptation. Now, you can adapt. There is a such thing as an adaptation. Like if I go to the gym and I start hitting the weight bench, I'm going to get a little bit more muscular. If I start cutting back on my diet, I'm going to lose weight. You can adapt things.
Right. You can select for what you want. Like you want a chicken that's got big feet. You put two chicken with big feet together, have them mate, and then keep on selecting that.
Right.
That thing that you want.
Right. And an analogy I can give is they say they can change they can clone or change the offspring of an animal. Well, I have a girlfriend, and let's say she's drinking, she's, taking 10 hits of vodka, every day, morning, noon, and night. She's drinking, but she's pregnant. There's a good chance the child will come out with I think it's called drunken baby syndrome. The baby will come out deformed, right? They even tell you on the back of the bottle, don't drink this while you're pregnant. So you can change an organism right then and there. You can do that. But what you can't do is change from one kind to another. You can't change a cat into a dog. You can go in while the cat is in the womb and start trying to manipulate and trying to splice genes. You can do that. But you cannot watch it slowly manipulate. And again, that's the scientist trying to I guess some say would play God. So, they're trying to, that's really what they're doing. And
I think the greatest, we're on a related topic, but I think the greatest evidence for a creator or whatever you want to call intelligent design, shall we say, is the complexity of organisms on this planet. And what evolutionists are saying is that this was all haphazard, this was random, and it took millions and millions of years. But when you look on a microscopic level about these organisms, these are like little mini machines, that had some intelligence behind it. I mean, you can't just get these molecules to work together randomly. That'll never happen.
It will never happen. And another thing that I know scientists cannot do, the one thing that scientists in no laboratory, and, they'll say they can do anything. I mean, they'll say they got nanobots that can fly, they got robots that can fly, it's microscopic. They'll say anything. They'll say they'll say we have this big hadron collider. They'll say anything. Which they may have, but is it really doing everything they bolster it to do? Now, the one thing the scientists cannot do is create a scab. They cannot create a scab. That is something they cannot do. They'll say they might say they can do it. I'm sure they'll say that, but they cannot do it. Now, the scab is really unique. So if you get cut, that's really special. If you get cut, the cells will communicate with each other. It doesn't need you to consciously or subconsciously to say, hey, heal this cut or I'm going to bleed to death. The cells will naturally do it. The cells themselves will communicate. That shows that what I'm saying is the scientists, all they can do is manipulate what already exists. That's what I'm saying. They can only manipulate what already exists, but they cannot create anything out of nothing. They can only manipulate what is already here. So I can go and take a tree and light it on fire, and I can change the structure of that tree branch. But I cannot create a tree branch from nothing. And that shows that there has to be creation. And even if you're talking about the Big Bang, let's go with that. If you're talking about the Big Bang, who created the Big Bang?
Right.
That right there is, I mean, they'll say, well, I was watching a professor, and it's one of the most cruel things to tell any child, because and this is going to go into why I think they're lying, or why they're, being very deceptive. When you tell a child that, hey, look, there's no creator, we're all just random, specks of us out in the middle of nowhere that just came together and formulated this complex system. When you tell a child that, what you're essentially doing, you're taking that child, the mindset, you're taking the mindset of that child, and you're taking away the value. You're changing that child's value system. So, and this goes back to evolution, flat earth, and everything else. You're taking that child and you're manipulating that child's value system. So if he sees another child who may see you, right? Another person may see you. He may say, I'm going to help this guy out because, his car's broken down. I'm going to stop on the side of the road. I'm going to help him. I'm going to help, change his tire because I know that he's special just as much as I am. Mm. But then when you take and this goes back to the philosophy, because your philosophy is like, if you're on a computer and you have Microsoft Windows, okay, your philosophy is like the operating system. And then anything that comes after that, all the things that come after that is just ideas, but you're still on the operating system. So the operating system is that everything is random, right? They see it's a very so-called atheistic viewpoint. So if that person sees you and they say, well, you can have morals and be a so-called atheist, you can have morals and be a, you don't have to believe in creation and all this. Yes, you can have morals, but it only goes so far, and then it comes to an end. So if someone sees you on the side of the road changing your tire, that person may say, you know what? Screw him. I'm not going to stop and help him. Well, why not? Because everything's random. None of this matters.
Right.
Who cares? Yeah. I'm gonna sell her a drug. Who cares? Who's gonna punish me? What's the big deal? Who's gonna stop me? But then when you turn and you flip it around and you say, look, there's something that put us here and put everything here. Every grain of sand, every blade of grass was put here before humans existed. What did that? Who did that? And why did they do it? Then that person may see you on the side of the road, but you know what? That person, he's a creation of something that's beyond me. Maybe I should go and give that person a hand. Now, not to say that people who are, the scientifically atheists, not to say that atheists don't have, some morals, but I think that it comes to a point. I think they get to a certain point and then they stop. And they say, none of this matters. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do.
I think too is that religion has given the creator or spirituality a bad name, so that people just throw the baby out with the bathwater, because religion has been a very oppressive, domineering force on this planet, and so people go, oh well, I'm not going to follow any religion. I mean, they don't know what they're talking about. So science has become that new religion, and whatever they espouse has become that thing that people bow down to.
Absolutely, and they actually hijacked a lot of the major organized religions. They'll come in and say, "Look, I'm just like you. I believe what you believe," but in reality, they don't. And they'll come in and then they'll start, manipulating it and start twisting it into the point that it turns anybody. I mean, it's just like disinformation. It's just like disinfo. They'll come in, they'll say they'll agree with you, they'll give these ideas, and then they'll slowly sway it to the point that it sounds ridiculous. Mm. And then people who want to come in and say, you know what, I'm looking for answers, and they'll come to, they'll read the Bible and they'll say, oh look, the Bible says such, and they'll manipulate the scripture to make it sound ridiculous, when in actuality it's the truth. Yeah. But they'll
Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking about, I watched some debates between creationists and evolutionists, and, I I was more swayed by the creationists, but the only problem was that they would cite the Bible for all their evidence, not all their evidence, and I would say, well, who wrote the Bible? And it's been changed. There, different versions of the Bible, and I'm not sure that that's as a pure book as you're saying. Even though I agree with a lot of your arguments, about the evolution theory is lacking. But you coming up with, well, it says right here, but it also says some other stuff that is, awful.
Right.
So you're going to take the whole thing together, and so I think that poisons their side of the story.
Right. It definitely does. And what the evolutionists, what they will do is, in fact, the Big Bang was created from. And, again, I'm not condemning every, Catholic or condemning every Muslim. I'm just saying that there are certain people who will come in and pose as they're Jewish, they're Catholic, and then they will interject the Big Bang. In fact, I have a video up where you have what you call Christian astronomers. Okay? And there's according to Christian astronomers, they're looking out into deep space. And they're looking at all of these far-off galaxies, billions of light years away. And again, the young Earth goes back. It really goes back to that. And I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I kind of have to drive this home because when you look out in the deep space, okay, and you're looking at billions. When they say there's billions of galaxies, each galaxy has billions of stars or billions of solar systems. And then within those solar systems, there's billions of planets, right? So you have trillions of galaxies, trillions of stars, and then trillions of planets, and then that's all they have to tell you, because what they will do next is say, okay, then there could be life out there. There could be life. Now, if there's life out in the far reaches of the universe, what does that say about Jesus Christ? If God created Jesus to be his only begotten son, which is here on earth, then why would he create these why would God create the far-off galaxies and put planets on them if we can never see them? That's the real major question. So when these Christian astronomers, they're looking out in the deep space, what they're essentially doing is trying to, without you noticing, they're trying to slowly ease the idea that, hey, maybe there's aliens out there. And if there's aliens out there, then that's going to throw away your creation story. Because then that means that there's other life forms, and then everything's just random. See, so it all kind of interconnects. It's one giant BS, really. It's one giant bag of crap. And so anytime the scientists propose a new theory, there's always a hidden agenda behind it. They're not just telling us because they want us to enlighten us. They're telling us because there's an agenda behind it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's been really great talking to you, Mike.
Okay. It's been a pleasure.
So you have a YouTube channel. Maybe you could shout that out for people who are interested in checking out some of your videos.
Absolutely. My channel is Stars Are Sold on YouTube. And if you just punch that in the Google search, you'll find it. Stars are, A-R-E, like we are, sold. S-O-U-L-S. Stars Are Sold. And if you go to that, I have plenty of videos on there. I'm constantly adding more videos. And I have a book coming out as well. It's called Beyond the Horizon. And it's dealing with the flat, young Earth. So that'll be out with sometime in June. I'm still working on it. So
could you send me a copy?
I'm sorry?
Could you send me a copy?
Absolutely. I'll give you a free copy. I'll send it directly to you.
Sweet.
And I'll definitely keep in touch with you in email because it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure. And I do enjoy your videos. You've got definitely an interesting style about you. You're like, I'm only going to say one more thing about this. It's really tough. And so I'm just going to leave you, my final words I want to leave with your listeners is the burden of proof is on them. If you cannot see it with your own eyes,
in your own ears, it has to go into the